What's good, you guys? Welcome back to For the Underdogs podcast. Today, I'm super grateful to have one of my good friends in the studio today, Billy Davis. Me and Billy have known each other, man, what's it been?
Like 10 years.
10 years plus now. And we were teammates at ASU. And now he has transitioned into being the founder of his own sports agency, Family of Athletes, which is super dope to see him in that space. And I really want to start off with kind of getting that story from you about how it went building from the ground up. First off, how is everything going? But yeah, I want to talk about that. How you doing, man?
I'm great, bro. It's a pleasure to be here and super excited about, we've been talking about it for a while, but finally me getting in town is the first thing. But getting here and just being back with you is a blessing, bro. So things have been great. Lately, obviously, I've been doing the sports agency stuff, kind of venturing into some other things as well. But just being an ex-athlete, man, like you try to figure out how to help as many guys as possible. There's a lot of ways to do it, but I just figure, hey, like if guys can trust me with some of the things that I went through, then I can help kind of prepare their future for the right way. So
I think that's special because, like you said, being an ex-athlete, that transition happened for you fast, like straight out of college. And, I remember you going through the process of kind of figuring out where you wanted to be and what you wanted to do. And we all go through that at some phase of life, but it hit you early. And I remember that process. Can you talk about the ups and downs of what it was like to kind of figure out the space you wanted to get into?
Yeah, definitely. I remember, finishing up ball, you guys, a lot of our teammates, right, had the opportunity to go pro. And for me, it wasn't really that, I didn't have that case scenario. So I was really just trying to figure out, I think that a lot of athletes go through a midlife crisis early on because you never really know your identity outside of the sport.
Man.
Like, what do you enjoy? What's this that all you know is your sport?
You're not lying.
Yeah. So for me, I was in the same ballpark. And I remember, dude, I was doing a lot of hustling, trying to just figure out what was next. I was still working out, but I was driving Uber. Right. Starting at 6 a.m., picking up people from the airport, dropping them off, doing all those things. And then going into, I remember I drove a lady out here in Arizona who ended up hiring me to be an accountant. To do sales and use tax. And I'd never done that in my life. So just learning a bunch of acquired traits and skills kind of like brought me back to this, realm that I could kind of take what I've learned outside of being an athlete to being a professional and kind of help as many as people possible. But yeah, I went through a lot of trials and tribulations in terms of figuring out who I was as a person. Because as you know, when you stop playing ball, then you just trying to figure out, okay, what's next? Yeah,
man, that identity piece is crucial because I've said it before, a lot of guys have the perception that, the sport is who they are. And, it took me some time to figure out that the sport is just what you do. It's not who you are. Like when that thing ends, when that game ends, you have to have something to fall back on. And if you don't have an occupation or an avenue to go in, it's got to be yourself. Who are you at your core? And athletes struggle with that. That's just the truth about it. I think that it's hard to not be in that space because you have to be so engaged in your sport to be great at it and get to the professional level. But I think that if we have these conversations more about, being your own person outside of your sport, it'll start to quickly churn over,
For sure. It's crazy that you say that because I have a guy that, he's a family actually, and that is going through kind of that right now with this sport. He knows that there might not be a chance where he goes pro. And so literally last night we were on the phone and we were just talking and I was like, bro, like some things that I could recommend for you is like figuring out your hobbies outside of playing. Like when you're at practice, when you're doing this, that, and the other, you go home at night, you might get on the game with your boys, but you don't really think about what you enjoy. You know what I'm saying?
I think a lot of us get in that point.
Oh, for sure.
I heard so many old heads telling me, hey man, figure it out early. And I'm just like,
I'm good.
Like you old. Like you know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's the thing, bro. That's the thing is like, when we're younger and when we're guys going through it, we often feel like you don't know what I'm going through. Whether it be father figures, whether it be uncles, whoever's helping us or kind of in our ear as a manly figure.
For sure.
They always tell us things and we were just kind of like, bro, you don't know what I'm going through. Like, you don't know how my body feels. You don't know, I'm straight or nah, I got this or, blah, blah, blah. The only thing that I tell people that they could never interfere with is love life, right? So like when clients or friends or family ask me about people that their significant others, that and the other, like, bro, like, whatever y'all got going on, y'all got going on.
Yeah.
Don't involve me in that because I don't know how much you love that person.
Yeah.
I don't know what they've done for you behind closed doors.
For sure.
So that's the only thing that I'll always stay away from. But everything else, dude, I feel like it's comprehensive now. Like people and clients and, you know, everyone comes to me about personal problems. And now I find myself not even being able to deal with my own stress because I'm dealing with so many other people's.
Man, that's a big piece as well, especially being an agent. Like being an agent is 24/7. Like you never get to turn it off because I know from experience, I would call my agent for everything. Like regardless of if it's sports related or not, I'm calling my agent to figure it out. You know, lost a package, I'm calling my agent. Like he has no idea. But I was thinking about this the other day when, you know, I was thinking about our episode and like, the transition that you have to have in order to be there for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like you're there for so many of these guys that are going through these huge pieces of their lives. In the grand scheme of things, it's a small piece, but right now it's a big thing to them.
Right.
But at the same time, when do you have time to kind of tend to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly 24/7, but what I've learned to do was I started finding windows and seasons where I could focus on myself.
Yeah.
Right. So like there's a time period in the summer and it's for the NBA, it's after summer league around like July 17th every year. And it goes all the way through, you know, guys on the NFL side in preseason. Right. Because during that time frame, nobody's really doing anything.
Yeah.
So that's when I literally isolate to recharge.
Okay.
You know, like I'm taking trips to Europe.
Yeah.
I'm doing things that like make me happy. And people can call me and say, oh, like, the last 2 weeks you've been on the go. I'm like, bro, I'm just doing what I want to do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
As you
Nothing
should.
else matters.
As
yeah,
you should.
Like, and so, within that time frame, that's when I kind of get that chance to just be me. But I often find myself sometimes that I overwork my mental so much that, you know, there's pockets where I don't want to speak to anybody, and it's not that. You know, I do feel like some of the people that love me the most and that are closest to me sometimes look at me and they're like, you know, I just want to talk about my day. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to talk about mine.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's not because I don't want to talk to you. It's not because I don't love you. None of that. It's just because like I'm dealing with so much right now that I really don't even have time to process my own stuff. You know, so I don't think that a lot of athletes kind of realize that about their agent.
Oh yeah.
You know what
absolutely.
I mean? Like, it's because you're in your world. So you're like, bro, everything I got going on is important.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I would drop, you know, if I'm doing XYZ with my family, then 90% of the time, if one of my clients call me and say, I need this, and I would drop what I'm doing and take care of that. And it does affect your personal life.
That's tough.
Yeah, it's really tough.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've learned to be good at multitasking. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good key of being good at multitasking. Like you said, a lot of guys expect so much out of their agent. And I mean, it says a lot about you that you're in that role. And I didn't say it, but I am proud of you. I want to give you your flowers.
Thank you,
because of what you've built from the ground up. And I know it's only a glimpse of where you're at right now. And this thing is going to, you know, take off and go to another level. So I do want to give you your flowers on that.
Thank you, bro.
I want to ask you, what's the dynamic like between you and your players? You know, so you're a younger guy. So a lot of those guys probably see you as
Big bro,
friend or bro, you know what I'm saying? And I know you travel around, go to practices with them and workouts with them, which is, I think is great from agent to athlete perspective, because I wish my agent was in there grinding with me, you know, like it'd give me a whole different respect. Like, we need this deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the dynamic like for you with the athletes, and how hard is it to have the agent cap, but also be
who I am,
who you are with them?
Yeah. So it's actually funny that you say that, man. Like, I definitely feel like, you know, with my age and where I'm at in life, I'm more big bro.
Yeah.
But I pride myself most on like the relationships that I built with teams, right? Like, a lot of people don't really know that, you know, majority of agents what they have to overcome is their reputation with teams.
Man, your name is everything.
Everything, bro.
Yeah.
So like how you're operating with people that are in front offices is very, very important.
Yeah.
The player aspect, I'm cool. You know, like I played, I've done it, I've been around, like everything that they've done, y'all have done, I did. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So like usually when I can hear, when I'm, whether I'm recruiting or whether I'm dealing with somebody who we're building a relationship, I can hear in your tone of voice how you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
I've been in the locker room.
Listen.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, so you don't gotta lie. You know?
Yeah.
And when I start talking to them about things that, you know, I know that's going on behind closed doors, or I know what's happening, or I could hear, you know, anxiety or, you know, some type of depression within their voice, I come to them as a human being, not as an agent.
That's important.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
yo, listen, like I might call them every single day, like, yo, this team's saying this saying this, and there's a professional balance, but when it's time to flip and switch, it's like, yo, let me holler at you real quick. You know?
I think that's important that you are able to go to them as a person,
Yeah.
especially dealing with the, like you said, the anxiety and depression around the sport and what that can bring on an athlete. Like,
it's
that,
deep.
bro, you
went through it.
Yeah, absolutely. and my agent was straight business, you know? So I didn't have that.
Who'd you cope with? Like,
Oh man, you know, my wife, coped with my wife, but sometimes you don't want to put that on your partner, your professional business. You know what I'm saying? So, man, it was really the guys that I grew up with and my peers that, you know, I had like one or two guys, Juwan James and Billy Turner, that I could really talk to about what I was going through, you know, like, but the guys I grew up with, my best friend Patty, like, knows me from the jump. So it was like, that's the person I'm talking to in order to get some perspective. And he used to bring me back down to who I am. And I think it was so important. Like, I'm blessed that I have a friend that knows me prior to success of ball and can always speak that life into me if I need it. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of guys lack that.
For sure.
Like, they have these friends aren't speaking life into you from a personal standpoint. You know what I'm saying? So those were the people that I really went to. And then, you know, I've said it before, I worked with a sports psychologist. Like, I had to.
Yeah.
It was the only way for me to turn that switch off and really kind of, my whole goal with him was get lost in the game. Like, bro, in college ball, I didn't worry about someone beating me I never had that fear.
That
and
anxiety,
then I get to the league and that's real. You know what I'm saying? Like,
coming at you.
So I had to work with a sports psychologist.
But you saying that really, really resonates with me. Why? What did it take for you to get there in terms of like dropping that ego and that pride? Because I feel like a lot of guys, it's more just like, I don't need to see a therapist, bro. Like, I'm good. I got it.
Yeah.
But deep down, they're really burning up inside. And so what made you say, like, you know what, I'm going to go sit down with somebody because I know I need it for myself?
Man, when I found out that the top guys in the league were doing it, the guys that I considered alphas, you know, they're working with somebody. And it is a pride thing, especially in our community, like letting that guard down of like, I need to speak to somebody. And I went through multiple therapists before finding the right person, you know what I'm saying? But it was just when I found out that other guys were doing it and they were having success, I'm like, I need to try it. At minimum, try it out and see how it goes. And if I don't want to say names because that's their personal, but if these top guys who are feared in the league are working with a sports psychologist, why would I not try it? You know? And he helped me just not even, I mean, obviously on the field, he helped me tremendously, but in my personal life, oh man, the jump from year 1 to year 2 working with him it was crazy. And I'm so grateful that I let that guard down to work with him, you know? So yeah, I would say that. And that's something that a lot of athletes need to kind of dip into if they are experiencing that.
Because teams offer it, right? Like
teams do offer it,
but also you want to be a little bit distant from that because
there's like this unspoken code in the league. I'm sure in the NBA, whatever league you're in, like, I feel like it's always better to go outside of the organization to get help on things like that. And I don't know if they use it against you. I'm not sure. I'm not the right one to speak on that. But hey, I feel like it's better to go that route and explore things outside the building.
Yeah, no, it's true, man. I see it so much. Like all the guys that I work with, and everybody has different personalities.
Yeah,
there's some guys that, you know, I laugh about this, but there's some guys that think they're the hardest workers, and you know, I have another client who doesn't even think that about himself, but he works 10 times harder than that person. Yeah. You know, and I see it and I'm like, sometimes the proof's in the pudding, bro. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You tell yourself like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, but I see it verbatim how this person doing this. I was watching a podcast with Will Smith. Yeah. A couple days ago, and he was talking about how the difference between a great athlete or a great professional is compared to a good professional. And he was like, that's just like in classwork. Like there's, you know, Chronicle B students. Yeah. And there's guys that, or females, whatever it may be, that are Chronicle A students. Right. Absolutely. And all these Chronicle B students might say, dude, I can get A's if I wanted to. But he was like, no, you can't. You can't do that, because in order to do that, you have to change the habits that you don't even feel like are projecting any kind of, you know, authentication to get this A. You know what I'm saying? They're sitting there like, oh, this B got me, blah, blah, blah. But now you got to change your sleeping habits, your eating habits, your diet program, your
sacrifice
your
a
friends.
Lot. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things you got to sacrifice to be an A. And that's the same thing with professionalism. Like there's guys that say they work hard, that do this, that, and the other. But you might work hard, but you might go out that night. You know? So it's like, if this guy, if y'all did the same thing, and he went home and took care of his body,
prioritizing the right things,
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Y'all worked on the same thing, but this guy now has a little edge because he's taking care of what he needs to.
For sure. Yeah, that's a good point. I was going to ask you, kind of leading into that, what is the difference that you see? You played football, you've been around a lot of football, and you work with a lot of NBA players, football as well, but majority NBA players. What is the difference in that, what you see in those traits? Because let's just call it what it is. NBA players are a lot different than NFL guys. That's just as well as every other sport. But those are two heavyweights, in my opinion, and how different they are.
For sure.
What would you say mentally, and then as well as just, you know, life?
I think basketball players are more patient. Like, and I think that the reason that they kind of, you know,
patient as
just in life. Okay. Like I feel like, you know, at an early age, they're taught X, Y, and Z. They might be 14 years old and saying, hey, you're going to go to the league. Right. So now they might have relationships that are captivated that a sophomore in college as a football player would have, right? Like an agent coming to them and saying, or a manager or a financial guy, blah, 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 at the age of 14. So they've seen so much turnaround within their life. Like by the age of 14, if they've had a financial advisor, agent, this, that, and the other, by the age of, you know, 19, when you get to the league, you probably already fired 2 people. You probably already met somebody else. So now they're more patient on who they work with, how they operate with their life, right? Football, it's like, okay, you might be a senior in high school, McDonald's All-American. I mean, not McDonald's, but Under Armour All-American. You might be playing, you know, in one of the games. Then you go to a big university, right? You're getting paid all this money, a freshman All-American, this, that, and the other, but you still got to go through your junior year. So like at your junior year, you're 21 years old maybe. And now you're becoming a professional. A lot of those guys have had hype for so long that now they decide that they want to do X, Y, and Z. Well, that is their pivotal moment to say, this is my time. I'm a junior now. I'm ready to go to the league. I'm ready right now. I don't care about, you know, what happens in 3 or 4 years. I don't care about this, that, and the other. I want everything right now. And so when I deal with football guys, like a lot of their affirmation comes like, I need it now. Not like.
I wonder if, just thinking about that, I wonder if, because in football, you're only allotted so many opportunities to make it happen. Like, if we're talking in terms of NBA to NFL 17 games, NBA 82 games. Like, I wonder if NFL guys press because during the season, that's what it is. Like, you lose 2-3 games in a season, it starts to get a little bleak, you know, as opposed to NBA, you lose 3 games, everyone's like, whatever it is, what it is.
And this is a football term. It's a game of inches. Right? Unless you play the sport, you really don't know what that means. You know what I'm saying? But
Every blade counts. Every blade.
Put one bad rep on film, like that might be your recruiting offer.
Absolutely.
That might be your job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that one false step on this 3 shade, now my quarterback's getting hit.
Yeah.
My quarterback's hurt. I'm cut.
Man. Listen, bro, the smallest thing in the league, bro, can turn it all down. It could be bad after that.
Yeah. In basketball, it's like, okay, this dude went 1 for 12 today.
Yeah.
Let's see what he does next game.
You
know what I mean? Okay, this dude went 2 for 13. He turned it up a little bit. Let's give him another opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Because there is so many repetitive. And then, as you know, just as much as football, basketball, there's kind of more leeway with opportunities, because the hardest thing for me as an agent dealing with the NFL and the NBA is that at some point with NFL players, you got to tell them, like, you're done.
Yeah.
Like, let's figure out what's next.
Absolutely.
And it might be, you could be a Super Bowl champion, then you could be done
the next year.
Literally.
Yeah.
After the game.
Seen it. Seen it, bro. It's a trip. And I think for me, it was so crucial for me to be able to say, I don't want to go back and play this next year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Was I ready for that at the moment? Hell no.
Yeah.
I was not ready to do that. But it was this pride piece that I had to let go of like my production, the way my body's starting to feel after these games, like it's taking me longer to recover.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy walking into the building the way I used to. I don't enjoy being evaluated anymore. Like it's time, you know, and I cut that cord real quick. But with that,
that's a blessing, bro.
It is, but with that, if you're not ready for it, things can go south quick.
Facts.
Because of what we just talked about with guys getting their validation from the actual sport.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is true.
Now, looking back at it 2 years, 3 years later, it's a blessing that I was in that position. But it took a lot of work and it was scary for a long time. You know what I'm saying? To be like, all right, I'm good without the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I piggyback off that because I know there's people out there or players out there that were in your position that couldn't.
Oh, for sure.
They're like, bro, I need 2 more years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I can't leave yet.
Absolutely.
With basketball, it's different because if an NBA team doesn't call in, then you could still go to Europe.
You can go to Europe. And
make a bag.
Oh man, it's ridiculous. Okay, tell me, because I need to know. Overseas, you can retire off overseas
for sure.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, there was a poll that came out a couple of days ago where they talked about some of the highest paid earners in Europe.
Yeah,
and like you got guys making like $3 million a year, bro. And remember, that's after taxes.
Yeah.
Right? Because they equivalate the taxes within their offer.
Right.
Right? So like if you play in the CBA, they might tell you, oh, you're going to make $1 million before taxes. After taxes, you're going to bring home $650. So usually they'll tell us as the agent, we'll pay them $650 net.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but his contract on paper, it might say 1.1 million.
Right.
You know, but they're bringing that home. And so what sucks is the conversion rate when you know, sending money back to the States and stuff like that. Obviously, the States try to get their shit off. But
guys making $3 million overseas.
Living in Milan, Italy.
Eating pasta.
What? Monaco. Watch soccer. I'm going to go watch this game.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
What kind of, I want to ask you, what kind of like satisfaction does it bring to you when you see one of your athletes do well? You know, especially given the work that you see them put in, and when you know a guy really has grinded for his opportunity, what kind of satisfaction does that bring for you as the agent being on the other side of it?
Man, all my clients can testify to this. I watch every game.
Yeah.
I'm talking about G League. Like, agents aren't sitting there like typing in the G League, pulling that shit up. Like, I watch everything. So like all my clients, like, I know you, bro. Like, I know how you play, and I know who you are off the court, off the field. You know what I'm saying? So I think for me, seeing success from them, it's almost like one-on-one, like we're doing this together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my success is their success is my success.
Which is special because your agency is Family of Athletes.
Bro, that's it.
And
that's what we stand for.
Yeah, that's special because a lot of people don't know, like, there's a lot of agencies that don't operate like that, you know, and a lot of agents that don't operate like that from seeing their guys as family. So I think I respect the fact that you do pay attention to your guys like that and you treat them like family, because I think that's something that is lacked. And I think a lot of guys go through this like grief process after they're done where they thought their agent was there for them for who they are, you know, but
the personality, whatever.
Exactly. But the agent kind of wasn't. Yeah, it was a check to him. So that's special. Keep being that person, because that's going to pay off in the long run when, like you say, your name is everything. For sure. You know what I'm saying? For so you have to uphold that standard.
And you know, I don't want to discredit agents, because I know that agents are going to be hearing this. So like, I understand that, you know, at some point it becomes a transaction. Just like when you're in a relationship, bro, like when you've been heartbroken so many times and you gave your heart to your significant other, whoever it may be.
For sure.
And they leave you for something maybe out of your control or something that they think that you didn't do, or, you know, you're doing everything that you can. It does feel like a null. Yeah. Now the guys are like, okay, I don't care anything about this dude. I'm gonna represent him, get paid, and dip. Yeah. And guys that have been doing it for 20, 30 years, I get why it becomes transactional. Yeah. But for me, it's like, bro, if you never make yourself vulnerable, then like, who are you as a human being? Now you're just a cold shoulder to lean on. You know? And I never want to be that. Like right now, I don't have kids. Yeah. You know, eventually that's my goal. I want to do that very, very soon. Yeah. I'm letting God kind of control that for me. But
absolutely.
Right now, like all these clients are like my little bros. Yeah. And if I can help you with anything, like there's stories that I could tell you right now of stuff that happened that you'd be like,
yeah. Oh, I already know. I know. I know how it go. You know.
I've seen a lot, bro. Yeah. I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot though, so it doesn't really faze me. But I'm thinking more just like, you know, grateful to be in this position, and also grateful for the guys that believe in me too. So that shit's deep.
Hell yeah, that's a big piece, the guys that believe in you. So I want to ask you, dealing with players and contracts and things like that, sometimes those things can come down to the wire. I want to ask you about that process and what's been something that has been either tough or, you know, you crunch something at the last second. What is that process like dealing with contracts?
It's tough. It's tough because, you know, agents are, realistically, we're just consultants between the team and the player, right? So like, we find the players want, we try to fill that void of what a team needs with what the player wants, right? So it's tough. Sometimes like wants and expectations are ridiculous. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's not tangible right now. At some point it will be, but right now it's not tangible. So there have been a few situations where I've been put in like a pickle to try to make a decision, like within 24 to 48 hours to make sure that guys are, you know, where they need to be at. But I think more than anything, man, you have to be understanding as a negotiator, understanding of what the team is trying to do, right? And then that also comes with like preparation. So, you know, for basketball, we have certain exemptions, we have certain like salary cap rules, all those things, and football, the same thing. But you have to know what's where with certain teams, which you can sit down with your client and, you know, it's not their job to understand everything. It's just their job to understand why things aren't going to go the way that they plan, right? And for me, I've always learned that it's not about what you say, it's about how you say it. So
absolutely.
I'm not just going to come to you as your agent and say, you can't get this money from this team. You're gonna be like, why?
You
know, like, why can't I? Like,
you know, athlete to flip is
like you're not trying. You know what I mean?
Well, absolutely.
And it's like, for me, I'd rather come educate you on why in your terms and your way of being able to sit down so you process it and develop it and understand it and comprehend it. And then I go to the team and say, okay, we understand why you're making this offer. We'll politely pass or we'll go somewhere else. Yeah. And, you know, there's some teams that are firm with their offers, right? If they offer you something and you pass and go somewhere else, they're going to be like, okay, cool, wash your hands with it. And there's some teams that are like, nah, we'll double down. Right. You know, and you just got to.
That's when you know you got them.
That's when you know you got them.
Do you think that being a former athlete helps you keep your composure in certain situations, like as far as dealing with people, but also like those high pressure situations. I think, you know, playing a sport or any kind of profession teaches you how to deal with crunch time.
Yeah.
Do you think that your athletic background helps you translate into that?
I think the athletic background teaches me the most of like, it doesn't matter who you are, I'm gonna treat you the same. You know? So like a lot of negotiators will look at, you know, certain general managers or certain team owners and say, this is so-and-so, like, I don't want to piss them off. And regardless of if it's, you know, Jerry Jones or Mark Cuban, right? I want to talk to them the same.
Yeah.
Because me coming from that athletic background, like, you know, players used to not talk to certain players in the locker room because they like, oh, that's so-and-so.
Absolutely.
Like, nah, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody gets held accountable, right? And if you...
People don't understand that dynamic in the locker room. Like a lot of players, there's players that can tell you 50 guys in the NBA, I mean, in the NFL, they couldn't tell you who's on the roster, you know, like they just don't, it doesn't come together like that until Sunday. Like people don't understand that dynamic. It's different. It's so different.
It's
like
true, though.
You could go a whole season and not know someone's name.
Yeah.
You just know them by number. That's what it is.
And one day they're gone.
Yeah.
Or one
day you're gone and move on. Like
move on.
Go find another team to not know nobody's name. For real.
Your locker buddy.
Yeah. No, for real. But go ahead.
But yeah, that's, I mean, on the negotiation piece, like I definitely feel like, like me being an ex-athlete, it's not only one, I understand valuation of player better than a lot of people.
That's special.
You know,
I feel like I'm good at that too.
You know, like I can see like, okay, if somebody says I deserve $100 million.
Yeah.
Like in certain scenarios with certain organizations, I understand why you think that.
Yeah.
But with where you're at right now, you don't. You know what I'm saying? And that having that conversation with athletes is very pivotal because there's a way to get whatever you want done. It just might not be how you had pictured it in your mind, right? I'll never forget when I first became an agent, I was sitting down with this guy and he was an ex-NBA player. And he was like, I was like, you know, what made you appreciate and enjoy your agent? He was like, well, my last contract, I told him that I wanted another, he was like, I wanted to finish at $40 million, right? I want to make $40 million more in my contract. And his agent was like, okay, I'll get the $40 million for you, right? So he went through free agency process and most teams were offering, you know, 28, 31. Yeah. He was giving numbers like that. And then he said, his agent came to him and was like, hey, listen, I got you the $40 million contract, right? And he was like, oh, I'm happy. Let's do it. Let's get it done, blah, blah, blah. But it was for 4 years instead of 3, right? So he got him the number that he wanted.
Yeah.
It just was in a different timetable than what he wanted, right? But the thing that I took from that was that there's always a way to get what you want done. It's just how you do it, nobody knows, you know? And there's so many success stories in life that people just wake up successful and they're like, how'd you wake up? How'd you get here? Yeah. And it was like, well, it wasn't by the plan that I had. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I just woke up one day and this hit this and
start figuring things out. Yeah.
Because we can plan, bro, but God decides.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
No, absolutely. I think that you had said something earlier that I really wanted to touch on more. And it was about when you say you're spending more time for yourself at these certain points. Always see you working out, always see you up and at it.
Yeah.
What does that do for you? Because I spent some time coaching a little bit in the league and it blew my mind that like a lot of coaches don't tend to themselves. Like they're up at 4 a.m. and they're just sitting at their desk.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when obviously they get satisfaction from the team winning, right. But internally, it does something for me when I get up and I work out early and I get to it and I feel good. Like this morning, I popped out, did my mobility, did my workout, my meditation. Like I feel good today. You know, if I didn't do that, who's to say how I feel?
Exactly.
You know, what does that do for you? Because I see you consistent with it. Every city you travel to. What does that look like for you?
It's funny. So number one, to touch on, a lot of people when we might not work out as hard as we used to.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't understand that we've been doing it since we was 10 years old.
Yeah.
a lot of people pick up a weight when they was in college.
Yeah.
So like for them that are, you know, these hardcore gym addicts and this, that, and the other, like, yeah, we might not be shredded up like we used to be, this, that, and the other, because we're ex-athletes, but we've been doing it so long now that it's become kind of like a habit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
it's part of my day. Regardless, I gotta break a sweat doing something.
You know? And then, you know, to piggyback off that, I read this book, bro.
Yeah.
This book called Make Your Bed. Fire.
Yeah.
It was so simple.
Yeah.
It was straight to the point.
Yeah.
You know, men talk in straight lines, women talk in circles.
Yeah.
This book was a straight line.
Okay.
It literally states how much of a mental barrier your mind can go into when you don't perform the first task right. And so every morning when you get up, routine, bro. Like, I make my bed every morning.
Absolutely, me too. Been doing it.
You know, when I come home at night,
yeah,
at least my bed's made.
You can get in a bed that's plush and soft.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
it really is though. Like for me, I have a hard time not doing it. Like I'm at the point now where if I get out the bed and I don't do it,
you think about it.
I think about it until I do it, and then I'm like, all right, cool. I can excel. You know what I'm saying? Tell me more. Tell me more about this book, though. I feel like I need to get it now. You got me intrigued,
bro. Like the book is written by an ex-Marine, I believe. So obviously, you know, his regiment was his regiment. But
yeah.
They teach the Marines and Navy SEALs and all those guys, you know, first thing that you do is you make your bed in the morning, because it checks off the first objective of your day, right? And as long as, if you could have the worst day ever, everything could fail, but as long as you did something and checked off that box,
yeah,
at least you know you accomplished something. Because, you know, people don't have bad days. We have 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Receive some shitty phone call, you know, and now you're like, I'm pissed.
No,
my whole day is fucked up.
No, for sure. It's the what I've learned is it's the small wins. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can build these small wins into your day, something as simple as making your bed, something as simple as, like for me, that looks like cold plunging, you know, getting in my meditative state, kind of setting my intentions for the day. That's what it looks like for me. And that's a small win. Every day that I do that thing, I'm expecting my day to go a certain way because I've set it up that way, you know?
And if it doesn't, at least you accomplish the little things.
Absolutely.
First, you know, and that's what working out has done for me. Like, you know, I've gotten to the point where sometimes, you know, getting in the gym by myself, I don't have as good of a workout because I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
You know, it's habit that I get there and do something, but I don't want to be there. So I've been training with a trainer, and
that makes a difference.
That is now my therapy.
Yeah.
Because I go in there, I have no mental notion or mental plan of what's happening with us, but I completely lose focus on what's happening without my day. You know, so I forget about the phone calls.
That's your you time.
That's my me time.
Yeah.
And all I'm doing is what he tells me to do next. And sometimes, like, I feel like we need to live our life like that if we're faith believers, just that and the other. Like, we try to plan all these things, and God says, let me help guide you, walk by faith. And when I'm with my trainer, he's like, okay, this is what we're doing. And I'm just like, all right.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm not thinking about my day. I'm not thinking about what's bad, what's good. I'm just in that moment. And that's like, you know, to go back to how I kind of like get to myself, you know, even when you're by yourself. Like this morning I worked out, I'm out here in Scottsdale, and I went to the gym, and the whole time I'm, you know, going through the rower, doing jump ropes, this, that, and the other, I'm thinking about the things that I have to do today.
What you're doing, yeah.
I'm thinking about the text messages and the phone calls that are coming in. And, you know, when I'm with him, it's just like, hey, Billy, this is what we're working on today.
Being present.
Yeah, I'm just present in the moment, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's important. I think we live in this time now where these cell phones they bring so much added weight, you know? So when you do get that hour to just be present with your trainer and focus on you, it's therapeutic. You know what I'm saying? That is your therapy at the end of the day. I think that you got to keep doing stuff like that, because I notice a difference when I put my phone down and I go do something and I'm like not grabbing at it, you know, like it makes a difference, bro.
And one thing that I really appreciate too and respect is, like, if the world's turning upside down and one of my athletes call me and I'm working out, like, they know that it's like ritual for me. So
They
like
respect that.
Yeah, if I hit them back like, my bad, I wasn't working, they'd be like, no, you good, but can we handle this? You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, some guys will be like, no, you can't be, you know, whoop de whoop, like this is going on, I just got waived or blah blah blah. It's like, my bad, bros. I was getting some me time in. You feel me? But what you need, I got you. You know, like, so that's very I'm appreciative of that for sure.
Absolutely. Talk to me about the new age athlete, because they are different. They are different than I feel like.
NIL's crazy, bro.
Man, I feel like after 2015, 2016, the athletic world just started kind of changing. I'm mad I missed the NIL window, but
you would have made some bread.
Oh God, man, what? I wish I could go back right now.
Let me tell y'all, he was cold.
I wish I could go back right now and redo that, bro. That would have changed the whole college experience for myself and the others around. You know what I'm saying? Like, but talk to me about the new age athlete in this space of. There's NIL, there's guys making a certain amount of money and some guys aren't making money.
Yeah.
There's the mental aspect of like how you have to deal with a player now as opposed to like us back in the day. It was like coaches are talking how they're talking, you know, agents talking how they talking. Like it's so different now. How do you adapt when you came up under that old phase? How do you adapt to that and tell me what it's like to kind of balance your athlete's mental mindset from day to day?
I think the hardest part, man, like obviously athletes are changing and they're learning about the money.
Yeah.
But I think it's the people around them, bro. I think it's the family members, the parents. Like they're just like, you know, maybe they're living the dream that through their child. Yeah. And so they're also seeing a lot of that. Dollar signs, they're also seeing money. So there's now becoming expectations of like, how are you going to take care of me? Yeah. And it's like, you're not the athlete. Yeah. But I get you're a big portion of where they are and breeding their success, but like also let them get to the point to where they can
be comfortable.
Yeah. And like, if they do it right, then you don't have to worry again.
Exactly. But
when you're pressuring them in this phase of the small notions and small wins that they have, now it just becomes
transactional.
So I think that the newer age athletes, especially in basketball, because these guys are getting paid so early now. Yeah. Football, I completely see it as well. Like it's becoming more of a transactional business in the portal and you know, throughout college. But I think, you know, most of the guys now are getting too hype over social media, and some of them are cold. They're tough. Yeah, they're good players, but some of them it's really just a PR stunt. Yeah, you know, which is a good marketing tactic, right? You can make a lot of money based upon the content and based upon the things that you're putting out there. But
the eye in the sky doesn't lie.
Never, bro.
Once we get the film,
yeah, them highlights are tough.
Yeah.
But
the eye in the sky doesn't lie.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of the difference between when we're playing and when they're playing. Like for us, it was just like, you got to go through it, bro. The shit sucks. You hurting. Your body's tired. Yeah. Like you're really battling to get to the next level.
For sure.
Because our loot checks weren't that much, bro.
Oh no, and there was some months that loot check did not come through. But I don't know who I need to talk to about that. But there was some months that them checks did not come through, bro.
Yeah, they need to run that back.
Yeah, I need that. I need that.
No, facts. But now it's like they don't even know what a loot check is. I'll talk to one of my clients about like a scholarship check or whatever, and they're like, oh no, I already did my stuff with the portal. Like I got my 20,000.
I don't think I saw 20K in college.
What?
Man, I don't think I saw that in college.
What would we have done with that kind of money,
bro? First off, you
wouldn't have been living over there on Apache.
I wouldn't have been living there. Yes, I wouldn't have been living there, and I wouldn't have been eating PB&J's every day. Just PB&J's and trail mix
to
every
gain
day,
some weight.
Bro, yeah. I would have been eating some sort of steak and eggs. You know what I'm saying? But it was different, bro. I'm so grateful when I think about, you know, if NIL was around during those times, like things would have been different. Mm-hmm. But I'm grateful for that time in college because it really taught me how to like fend for myself. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Call it what it is. Like there were times that we didn't get paid. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like And if we did get paid, it wasn't a whole bunch,
or it wasn't what we were supposed to get.
Like we're all heading to a restaurant and putting our money together and eating off of, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but that's what made the relationships better.
That's why I'm saying I'm grateful for that, because I imagine it's so different now. Guys are able to do their own thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I wasn't catching a flight to go anywhere in college.
No.
If I was going somewhere, it was by car.
Yeah, and going home.
Yeah, and it was home. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere where things were free. Like, that was the realistic, you know, expectations for me. So
you were committing to schools. You think about that as a recruit. You were committing to schools based upon, number one, you can enjoy your life at school, and number two, you could get home if you needed to.
Absolutely. For me, I was committed to Utah for the longest time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was committed to Utah for the longest time, and I decommitted probably 2 weeks before signing day.
Wow.
Because that reality hit to me of like, Utah from California is probably 8-9 hour drive. I think longer than that, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, man, I want to go somewhere where the fam can come see me play. Mm-hmm. I can go play in LA as well. At the time, Utah was not in the Pac-12, and they were in the Mountain West. They weren't playing the UCLA and USC's and Cal. They weren't. I'm like, man, I'm thinking about it long and hard. And I ruffled some feathers when I decommitted too.
Really?
Like, oh man, it was bad. Shout out to my
before signing day.
Oh man, shout out to my high school coach, because I handed him the phone like,
you take it.
Please do this. Like, after I said, yo, I'm not coming there, it got ugly. But that was a decision that I had to make for me, and
it worked out.
It worked out. You know, like, I'm not complaining. Like, bro, we were winning at ASU. I met a lot of great people here.
Did you know Carl and TK and all those guys before?
I had heard of Yantre and Carl and all of those guys because they were in California as well. But I met TK my first day here at ASU, you know, and so
y'all became like best friends.
Man, that's my dog, you know, and he's killing it. Shout out to TK. Yeah. He's killing it. But yeah, man, our college experience, I'm grateful for it, but damn, I wish that NIL thing was around back then.
We would have been at the W6.
Something. We'd have been at the steakhouse doing something, eating good. Big old line like to eat good, you know. So, damn. So, who are some guys that you look up to in this business of being an agent? We know guys like Rich Paul and things like that, and you know, I imagine that you have huge expectations for where you want to go within this business. Yeah. Who are some guys that you look to that we can kind of, you know, see you in at the end of the day?
Man, eventually, like, I would hope to be more of like a Bill Duffy. I don't know if you know who that is, but Bill Duffy. Yeah, he represented guys like Steve Nash, Yao Ming, right? He's a lot older now. He owned a company called BDA. They just recently were bought out by a company called WME. So you've heard of WME.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he's, you know, based in Walnut Creek, California.
Yeah.
And the reason I like Bill Duffy is because he built his company, right? I don't know the exact tangibles that happened coming up. And I'll give you a funny story. I remember when I first became an agent, I passed my test, and I had a meeting with Bill Duffy. And I was like 25, 26 years old. I was living with my best friend at the time in Sacramento, who was playing in the league.
Yeah.
And Bill invites me to his restaurant in California, and I go there and I sit down with him and one of his associates, and you know, we're talking about everything, and I'm super excited and fired up that I just became an NBA agent. And so I'll never forget at the end of the meeting, you know, and obviously they brought me in to come hire me.
For sure.
And at the end of the meeting, Bill looked at me and was like, you know, so if I put you in place to negotiate a contract today, could you get it done? And I was like, yeah, for sure, of course. Like, there was no fear, there was no doubt in my mind. There was and looking back, I would have been like, nah, bro. Yeah. I need your help. I need you, you know. But I was so confident.
You think he was asking that question to see?
100%.
Yeah.
To see where I was at mentally.
That reverse psychology.
Yeah. Because a lot of people think that the right answer is to be like, fuck yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
You know, I got this. I can do this. But in all reality, when you groom and you mentor and teach people, you want to see their
the willingness to learn.
You want to see their aspirations of where they think they are and where they want to be at. Because if I knew then what I knew now,
you would have?
Well, I would have been like, listen, like I think that I could, put some pieces together, but I don't think that I could do it.
Yeah.
Not saying that I'm not a good enough person, not saying that I'm not a great agent, but like I need help.
No, I'm capable, but I would love to see
100%. I would love help doing this, and I think that at that point he probably would have been like, okay, cool. He probably would offer me a job. I probably would have, who knows if I'd be working for them or having my own firm now, but everything happens for a reason. I'm grateful.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that's part of your story.
For sure. Like great, but that's one thing that I've never forgotten. And that was 5 or 6 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
man, that's crazy to think about in the grand scheme of things. And it says a lot about you that you have reflected on that conversation and it's brought you to this point, because I think that's playing a role in where you are today, and you being humble and being able to initiate your own thing. What's the best piece of advice that you would give somebody? It doesn't even have to be if they want to be an agent.
Yeah.
What's the best piece of advice that you would give somebody to jumpstart, their endeavor?
Learn as much as you can, but you can't do everything. And you need a team. Like, I wouldn't be where I'm at if I didn't have support and a backbone for people that have helped me. Right. And that's comprehensively. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm going to pat myself on the back. I've done a really good job. Yeah. Like, I've done some really good things, and
that's a huge piece, patting yourself on the back when you have felt that. Yeah. We got to be better about that.
For sure. Like, I feel like I've done a really, really good job. All the clients that I work with, like, I've taken guys that weren't supposed to be in the NBA and put them in the NBA. Yeah. And they'll attest to that. Right. But I think for me, it's making sure that people understand that, like, you can't do everything. Yeah. And, like, you don't have to be a one-man show, and that it's okay to trust people. And if you get burnt, it's okay, bro. Like,
because that's going to happen. Getting burnt is part of the figuring out things. That's part of it.
It's part of it. If you're 1 foot in and 1 foot out and you get burnt, you're going to be more upset than being 2 feet in and getting burnt, because at least when you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you don't know what you should have changed. You don't know what you could have gotten better, because you weren't all in anyway. Yeah. You were just like, I'm going to see what this person can do. So if this person does something wrong or dips off, you don't know what you could have done differently. Yeah. But when you're 2 feet in and, like, you're all invested in something or somebody, right? And that somebody or something doesn't come through. And this is life in general, not just being an agent, right? Like, at least it wasn't you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
At least you can live and wake up. And, like, I tell everybody that I work with, like, I sleep happily, bro. Because I don't have a guilty conscience about shit. Yeah. Because I know that anything that I put my heart into, it's not my fault if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, you got pure intentions.
100%. If you get cut, like, it wasn't because of Billy.
No.
So, like, we could be upset all we want. Yeah. But, like, what are we going to do to make it better? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that's a good mindset to have.
Yeah, that's why I would just recommend because at the end of the day, I'm an entrepreneur, not just an agent. Yeah. So, like, I would recommend anybody going through some kind of professionalism or trying to build something or trying to go somewhere, like, you can't do this shit alone. And
gotta have a team.
But learn as much as you can, because if you can hold that team accountable, because you do know things,
push each other. Yeah,
tough.
Man, that's good advice. I appreciate you coming through, bro. I said earlier, I'm proud of you, bro. I think that it says, appreciate that. It says a lot about you, of where you've come from and building what you're, we know that this thing is going to be bigger than what it is right now. Facts. And so I'm appreciative of you, bro. And I'm excited to see where the rest of your journey goes.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me, and I'm proud of you too, bro. You came a long way, and let's just keep going. We'll do this in a year from now. It's going to be like,
what? Come on, man. Appreciate you, dog. Yeah. Appreciate you guys listening to this episode of For the Underdogs podcast. Tap in with my guy, Billy Davis. Remember to like, subscribe, share, download, all those good things, and I'll see you guys soon. Yeah.
Yeah, for the underdogs, I'm an underdog. I've been through it all. I could never fall.